Regulator, lines, or fuel pump. So I went ahead and ordered a brand new fuel pump. I'm running the original Lucas over here. Hey, welcome back to the nice clean shop here. We are working on our Jaguar XJS, our 1989 V12. And if you watched the previous video, we got this thing fired up on Saturday and we had a fuel pressure issue. I went through and I inspected all the fuel lines. Doesn't look like we've got any leaks. There might be a pinhole crack in one of them or something like that. So I might go ahead for good measure and just replace the fuel lines back in the tank, and then also the feed line over there. I'll show you in just a minute. But all the vacuum lines are all hooked up to the fuel pressure regulators. I don't think they're an issue because I put my vacuum gauge on both of them and I pumped it up and they hold it like 25 pounds of pressure and they do not lose any pressure. So if anything, it's stuck open instead of closed, which I don't think that's going to be a real bad issue, but we'll double check and go back into those if our troubleshooting with everything else affects us. So I've got my .3 brake fluid. I filled up the reservoir. That was a little bit empty. I want to make sure I've got plenty of pressure in that and we don't get excess air into the system. Check the oil. There's no water or any kind of antifreeze leaking down in there. Double check the power steering, and I have just checked our coolant level and it's all fine. So looks like we're ready to fire it up. Now, the reason I'm shooting this video is I'm going to go ahead and try to just turn the key one time and see if she'll fire up after sitting for 2 days. Reason for that, I want to, what we were experiencing the other day is it wasn't maintaining the fuel pressure. So it would get start, it would run, I'd turn it off. It would start, it'd run, I'd turn it off. And I come back about 10, 15 minutes later and I turn it and it wouldn't catch, it wouldn't fire. So it's almost like the fuel is bleeding back into the system somehow. And from my research online and in the forums and everything else, what it's telling me is fuel pump, fuel lines, or fuel pressure regulators, or an extreme, it would be leaking injectors. Now, we've cleaned those injectors all out. We've got new fuel lines on the injectors themselves. So I've already eliminated that from our troubleshooting. So I'm thinking fuel pressure regulator, lines, or fuel pump. So I went ahead and ordered a brand new fuel pump. I'm running the original Lucas fuel pump on this, and I don't know if it's been replaced in the life of this vehicle. I mean, this thing is 35 years old. It's I'm the third owner now, and it was setting for about 15 years. So for good measure, I went ahead and ordered a replacement Bosch fuel pump, and I also went ahead and got a fuel filter just in case. We'll go ahead and replace those. And then also I've got some, I found a bunch of old, not old, but new, leftover high pressure fuel line. So I'll go ahead and replace back here in the trunk, and then I will replace the feed line that I didn't do, which is right there, that fuel line right there, that basically just goes right here and then right into the fuel pressure regulator there. So yeah, it's about, I don't know, 2 feet long of a fuel line. Now the metal fuel line or tube goes like this through there, down, and then along the bottom of the car, and then up like this, and then into your fuel pump and your fuel filter and the tubing assemblies back here. Now on these cars, the fuel tubing underneath here, some people might have jacked that car up and pinched the fuel line. So that may be an issue, real easy fix if it is, but haven't inspected that. That's one more thing on the troubleshooting list. But for today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you guys mounted up on the tripod here, just like we did on Saturday. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to turn the key one time, see if it'll prime up, and then I'm going to turn it and see if she'll start for us, okay? And if she does, then I've got a new fuel pump on order anyway, and we'll go ahead and do that just for good measure, and then we'll know all that stuff is good. I'll retain the old Lucas one just for the originality of the car. And like I said, when I work on these older cars, I tend to keep the original parts, and the reason for that is just so you know what they look like when they were all original, or if somebody wants to go back in there much later, maybe there's some new technology invented that can refurbish a fuel pump like those old Lucas ones, and we'll go from there. So stand by just a minute. I'm gonna get you set up, and then we'll go ahead and we'll crank the key. All right, I got you set up on the tripod, and you guys are not gonna believe this, but somebody's parrot is loose, and he's right there in that tree. I don't know if you can see him. It's a macaw, and he's over there raising all kinds of hell. So aside from the background noise of the street here and the parrot, interesting video here. I'll tell you, my life just gets more and more interesting as life goes on. Okay, so I've got you set up here. I'm gonna go in there. I'll turn the key one time. You're gonna hear the brake booster TEVS system kind of pump up, and then you may hear back here in the rear of the car, you might be able to hear the fuel pump priming. I'm gonna let it prime one time, and then I'm gonna turn the key, and we're gonna see if it'll start up for us. All right, here I go. Let that go ahead and prime up. Pressurize the brake system. I can see it over here in the brake fluid reservoir getting sucked down, so that's a good. Sounds like it's good. All right, let's turn the key. Hey, look at that. Well, she took a couple of seconds to fire up, but she's all primed and good. And let me let her run here just a minute. I'm gonna go grab a temperature gun so we can make sure it doesn't get overheated or anything like that. Make sure all of that new coolant is cycled through. And then over here, from my understanding, is on top of the radiator, these two lines right here are the kind of the self-bleed mechanism. So stand by just a minute, I'll be right back. All right, so we got her fired up and idled way down. I don't know what the RPMs are right now because the RPM gauge isn't working now for some reason. Double checking the temperatures. 202 on the pipe back here. Crossover pipe up in the front after the first thermostat, 177. Let's check the crossover pipe in front of the other thermostat, 186. And the radiator pipe, 181. What about this one down here? 149. Let's check this crossover pipe down there, or not crossover, but the 133. And the air temperature coming out of our idle adjustment or our alternative air right here, 160. So what about this one? 131. How's our temperature up here is 107. All right, we're doing pretty good. She's smoking a little bit on that passenger side. It doesn't seem like there's anything leaking anywhere other than the power steering right there. And I see it just ever so slightly dripping. But she is idled way down. All right, we got our electric fan on now. Everything seems like it's running. I smell the, nothing leaking down in here that I can tell. I mean, not profusely or anything like that. But, boy, she's idled real nice now. Let's go back here. All right, so sounds like we got a little bit of a miss. No? I don't know. Let's try this. Piece of paper test. Can you hear that? That's driver's side. This is not as strong over here. Hear that? I don't know. And that's not fuel, that's water. So what is going on? Let me give her a little bit of a rev. Let me jump in there and I'll show you the gauges real quick. And obviously the RPM gauge isn't. It smells like a clean engine. All right, let's see here. Yeah, we got about 900. And we've got the brake on, parking brake set, and looks like low fuel warning. And then we've got that secondary alarm or alert right here. And that's not going to go out until we replace that front fog light. So I'll get in there later on and we'll try to turn on the air conditioner. But I hear that rattling. It's this clutch. So I'll get some WD-40 and spray on there real quick. What's this? What is that? Is that water? Is that fluid? Oh, you know what that is? That's when I left the radiator cap off and I started it and ran it and it blew all over the place. So, yeah, there's no leaks down in there. It would be spraying out of there like a geyser. We don't have any leaks under here anywhere. So, all right, folks, let's double check. What's this? Is that? Oh, that's just left over when I refinished some furniture out here. All right, well, 4 minutes in, I call it good. She fired right up. She's warm. We've got our electric fan came on. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off. Sounds like we've got a successful project. And I'm gonna go ahead and replace that fuel pump just for good measure. Maybe that's the reason we're getting somewhat of a miss on this side. Yeah, I think we got a little bit of a miss on one side. So other than that, we'll call it good. Thanks so much for watching. I'll update you in the next video. Thanks so much.